was mentioned a little bit, but I want to reinforce this, page 75. The capo on the guitar is a brilliant transposition tool. Okay? So if the key of the song that you're written in is G, and the gal singer says it's too low, I want to raise it up, and you find that B flat is the way to go, you can continue to use the G chords that are in front of you, the G major chords, the G diatonic chords that the song's probably written in on paper. G up to B flat, take the capo up to the 3rd fret, 1, 2, 3 frets, and you can still use your G-shaped chords. You can learn the chords that are on the page just the way that they are. You're thinking in terms of G, but the capo brings it up to B flat to play along with the band. Okay, so there's another example of it. If the progression, the one I've got kind of bolded and larger there, if the progression is 1, 2, 5, 6, 4, 1, B flat, C minor, F, E flat, B flat, whatever, maybe it's easier to play those chord shapes with the chord shapes that we learned back a few pages ago on Module 7. In which case, it'd be easier, instead of thinking B flat shapes, which there are none that are native, A shape is good, G shape is good. So instead of trying to do a B flat shape, I'm sorry, I should be showing you visually instead of talking about it. So here's the B flat chord, but I'm having to bar it to make it happen. C minor, it happens to be using an A minor bar shape, by the way. D minor, which is an A minor bar shape. E flat. So now I just went 1, 2, 3, 4, right? The progression I've got there is the 1 chord, B flat, and the 2 chord C minor. Then the 5 chord F, 4 chord E flat, and back to B flat 1. Not very smooth. Could be played, but if I do the capo, I got a couple options. I could capo at 1 fret. That would take my A string up to B flat. And now I can do that same chord progression, but using A shapes. The chord progression is 1, 2, 5, 4, 1, or 12, 4, 51, right? Or that, again, those couple of bands, right? They put them all together. So if I'm in the key of A, I can use my much easier to grab a hold of A shapes to grab those chords. So what's the 1 of A? A. Don't everybody shout at once. It gets really confusing trying to get it all going. Okay, the 1 chord is A. The next in our progression is the 2 chord. What's the 2 chord of A? B minor. Yeah, we got, here's a place we got a fret. Yeah. Excuse me. The next chord in our progression is the 5 chord. The 5 of A is E. A, B, C, D, E. So I can now do a very much more easier E shape. Okay. Next chord is the 4 chord. The 4 of A is D. Nice, easily playable D shape. And if you've been practicing on Module 7, you already know that's the D shape. Back to the 1. Now, I've just been playing in terms of the A major scale shape-wise, but what's actually coming out of my guitar is in the B flat scale, so I can play along with everybody. I have another option, though, because it's also fairly easy to play G shape with the B flat scale. But G up to B flat is a step and a half, 3 frets. So if I go here, boom, there's my 3rd fret. Now I can play the same progression in the key of B flat, but I'm using G shapes. The progression is what? 1, 2, 5, 4, 1. The key of G, 1 is the G chord. The 2 chord would be A minor. So here's an A minor shape that we learned back in Module 7. It's an A minor shape. It's actually sounding a C minor chord, because that's our progression. But we're thinking in terms of this A minor. What's coming out is a C minor chord. Okay? But it's an A minor shape. The next chord in our progression is the 5. The 5 of G is D. So I can play a D shape. It's coming out as F. Next one's a 4 chord. That's a C. C shape and G. So here are the 3 ways of playing it. Here's with no capo, B flat, C minor, F, E flat, and B flat. Here it is capo on the 1st fret using A shape, B flat, C minor, F, E flat, B flat. Much easier shapes. And here it is, if I capo on the 3rd fret, now use G shapes to make the B flat scale. Here's a B flat, C minor, an F, an E flat, and happy? Sort of kind of makes sense, just a little bit. Now, the more you dig on this, the more you have your major scales memorized, and the more you start thinking in terms of the number system, then the capo really can help guitar players transpose. Keyboard players, you can really cheat and use that transpose button on your keyboard. I don't think using a capo is cheating for guitar players, because I desperately need one all the time. I do find that using the transpose button is a little bit of a cheat on the keyboard player side, but there's been a half dozen gigs where I've done it just to make the devil mad. So it's not the worst thing in the world as long as it's not a crutch. I've met a couple of keyboard players along the way that when they ask you what key the song is in, it's because they're having to do the math because they only know how to play in one key. So whatever key the song is in, they're pushing the button so that mechanically they're only putting their fingers down on the key that they know. That's a crutch because that's going to keep you from making all kind of music, right? Because you can only, find those particular shapes and voicings and so forth. Anyway, enough about that. Now, I want you to turn over to page 77. We're going to talk about modules 7 and 8 homework. Good news! Class is over, so there's actually no homework. What am I going to do? Bring you back in here to go over it? But these are strong suggestions. And in fact, it would make me feel better if you crossed out the word some and put the word strong. But you don't have to. I'll never see them. These are strong suggestions. First one, go back through the notes. Regularly break down this topic into its most basic element. If you hit a part you're like, I'm confused about this, back up a couple steps. I built the class so that it builds on each other. So if you're lost towards the end, go back towards the beginning and make sure that everything makes total sense before you move forward. Okay? The second one, memorize major scales. I know I've downplayed this, but it could not be more important. Memorize your major scales. Okay? Knowing them accurately will greatly benefit you. The third one, practice forming go intervals. Just intervals on both boards and on paper and in your head. Then go to chords. There's 6 triads. Mess with them. Get to where you know what they sound like, how you can create different ones on both the fret and the keyboard, and scales. I know I've really downplayed the scales, but learn your scales on both boards. Learn what they sound so you can hear them and recognize them and even sing them. Okay, regarding chord progressions, I'm on the 4th bullet point there. Take some songs that you already know how to play or sing. And if you don't have the paperwork, grab the chart if you can. Analyze the chord progressions based on this number system. You'll find instances where there's non-diatonic chords, and we're going to kick a lot more of that in Theory 2 class. But for now, see how much chords you can start thinking of in the relationships of the root with the chord progressions in the number system. Yeah? And we talked about earlier, I think it might have been off camera with the class. You go now listen to the radio, listen to a CD. See if you can figure out, oh, they just went to the 5 chord. Oh, maybe that's the 2. And you start off by listening to the bass line. If you hear the bass move, and you go, oh, he just went up a 4th. That must be the 4 chord. Oh, he just went up another 3rd. He must be on the 6 chord. The more you do this exercise, the more you sit down with a song in your head and try to sort it out through the number system on whatever board you have, the more familiar you're going to get with it. And a big reminder that the whole reason why we're doing this is because I feel like that artistry in church music suffers greatly. And my mission is to try to change that, one half step and one person at a time. Most church musicians that I hang out with don't know this stuff. Or if they do, they know just enough to get by. And I don't think that I'm interested in helping the church get by anymore in worship. I'm ready for us to bring a new sound to the table. I'm ready for the artist that's within you to come forth with your sound and your chord progressions and your unique way of playing music unto the Lord as a co-created offering unto Him. So along the way, I thought, a lot of folks just don't even know the bottom line basic building blocks of this music stuff. And then when they go to teach the theory, it's really flippin' confusing. And if my word flippin' there just hits you, you got a religious spirit you need to deal with. Because it's really flippin' confusing. Now, I don't know if I've made it any less confusing than the others, but I'm trying. So I hope that you'll take this as the seeds, the building blocks of the creativity that God has placed within you to fulfill the grand purpose of why He put you on the planet. You're an artist. You were created to create, and to create with Him. Go write a new song. Go make a new sound. You got the tools to do it now.